Okay, guys, here we are today. We have to talk. We've got to talk about Halloween and some other things. So, first of all, good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Say hello to everyone.
We just did.
You
Hi.
say good morning. Hi. So I want to welcome all the FinTexters. I want to welcome people who are planning on not eating a lot of candy today. I want to welcome people whose goal it is to lose weight, to live a better life, especially coming into the holiday season. I want to welcome people who want to go into the new year with some momentum, as opposed to kind of like just, backing in and like feeling bloated and large and having to make a resolution that you don't want to make. So that's part of what today's conversation is about. But here's my first question. Oh, it's Halloween. Happy Halloween, sort of, but not really. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies. So you're all mothers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you all participate in Halloween with your children?
In which way?
I don't know. You tell me.
I participate in every aspect of it.
Halloween is a
Guilty
thing
as
for you.
charged
Okay,
today,
good.
and then I have
Halloween
a
is
sugar hangover.
Halloween is a big thing. Okay. What about you, Trish? Halloween's a
Yeah.
big thing?
Mhm.
Jen?
So normally no, because I don't love the candy. I had a Twix bar the other day, and so that's going to be a no. But I will eat candy today, just better candy.
Okay.
To be honest.
So here's the thing. I was thinking about something. As you all know, I'm a deep thinker. I think a lot. I have a lot of time to think. Since the pandemic started, I have more time than ever. Now, here's what occurred to me as I was thinking today about Halloween. I am very clear. It is so clear. I don't know why this never occurred to me before, but it is very obvious that Halloween was created by people, and also it's the people who participate in it hate their children.
No, Reese's peanut butter cups taste
You
really
hate your
good.
children. You have to. Think about it. Think about what happens at Halloween. First of all, you dress them in humiliating outfits. Secondly,
Off
you
with
tell
your
them
head.
scary stories, so you scare the crap out of them. Then you feed them food, which will surely cause them cavities and obesity. And then you further humiliate them by making them into beggars where they have to go and beg for candy. Clearly, this is not a holiday for people who love their children. It can't be.
Well, when you break it down that way, doesn't sound
For
so
real.
great.
Or you break it down with you like the kids to get dressed up and have fun and be excited. They get to finally be kids like they were in like the 1950s and not be afraid to ring on a doorbell and ask for something fun. I mean, how many kids do you know that said, "Can I do the ding dong ditch today?" How many kids I know that are like, "I want a ding dong ditch today. I don't want to
What
get
is
the
that?
candy. I just want to ring the doorbell and run away."
Ring and
What
run,
is
yeah.
that?
Ding dong
Yeah.
ditch, ring and run. That's
What that
really
was.
not a Halloween tradition. That's more of a
Nope.
mischief night tradition. That is one I participated in, but that's one I hope you don't encourage your children to do. All right, we're discussing the question. If you're just joining us, welcome. We're discussing the question of whether or not mothers and parents whose children participate in Halloween actually love their children, or if they dislike their children and they use this holiday to torment them. Jennifer has an opinion. Go ahead, Jen.
So my Facebook feed is filled with arguments about Halloween,
Okay.
the origins of the holiday, the rituals behind the holiday,
Mm-hmm.
of my Christian friends saying not to let your children participate in a
This is a
satanic
pagan holiday. Yeah.
ritual,
Uh-huh.
child sacrifice holiday because it's the biggest day of the year for the satanic child ritual sacrifice. And then the other half is filled with let children be children. And this is me. Mute, 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 mute. Because I think that your participation is, to the degree that you participate, is your choice. I think It should be fun for kids. I think it used to be a probably a bigger day of the year than Christmas for most kids because it was fun. You were planning your costume all year long. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a fun day for them to just
Listen, it can be a fun day, but let's get serious for a bit here because yes, it can be a fun day, but we have to be serious about the fact that we are using it to disseminate a drug.
this is true.
It is a sugar holiday. It might as well be a heroin holiday. I mean,
That is
the
true.
effects of sugar on the body, as you know, every aspect of the body are very dangerous. We had this argument last year. Remember?
I
Should we
remember
or
it
should we not send the candy to the troops, which on the one hand sounds like a very loving thing,
Yeah,
and
no.
on the other hand is we're sending them poison. And I don't know that we made the right choice. We decided to send it to them and let it be their choice whether they want to
Yeah,
eat it. But that's really like the philosophy of the people who create the candy in the first place. The whole model is a drug pusher's model.
correct.
And
So
we have to get clear on that.
I got feedback, and I think there was feedback left from a friend of mine who is a former veteran. She's a veteran. She's a former
Carla.
Air Force with Carla. And she said, do not send poison to our troops, to the troops that are defending our nation, that
Yes.
you don't build a strong, vital army on drugs. She didn't say quite that, but we had a conversation afterwards, and she's like, no way.
Listen, it sounds like an extreme position, and I got to tell you something. So last year we decided to do it. I didn't feel necessarily great about it. I mean, the intention was good. Carla did object to it. Carla, if you're watching us, I think she was probably right. I mean, I think, it's weird. And again, it's the people who have created and want to sell these products are the same ones who I think at some level have suggested to us that it's a way to show love to people by giving them these candies.
That's a marketing campaign.
It's all marketing, right? Trisha's getting very uncomfortable. She's leaving. Where are you going?
Sorry, I'm having work done in my house. Making
Okay.
a lot of noise.
It's all dark now. It's starting to look very Halloween-y where you are. Yes, Jen.
I was going to say, so when my kids were younger and they didn't hate me so much and they didn't fight so much about all the things that I tried to do, I would give out healthy Halloween snacks like fruit leather and homemade Rice Krispie treats and
Is
whatever.
fruit leather healthy?
It was if it was organic and just fruit
Okay,
and
fine.
pectin. And the same thing with like piñatas and whatever. And then they hit the wall and they're like, can we just have normal snacks?
They
And-
wanted to be normal kids.
Normal. This year I was going to give out organic granola bars, and my 25-year-old son said, don't you dare. And I bought a box of candy. That's where the Twix bar came from, by the way, that made me feel like garbage. So,
Right.
ugh. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about why candy and why sugar is so desirable. All right. Again, the people who sell it, their model is they're like drug pushers. And again, that might sound harsh, but the fact is sugar has zero nutritional value. It has negative nutritional value. When you eat it, it actually fires up some chemicals in your brain like dopamine and serotonin, and these are feel-good chemicals.
Right.
So they know that. They know people want to feel good. They take advantage of that. They allow people to feel good temporarily. Obviously, what then happens is then, the blood sugar drops, the serotonin, the dopamine levels go down, the happy feel-good chemicals go down, and then a person wants more.
Right.
So it is, in fact, a drug. We've talked about this in the past. Studies show that animals will reach, rats in particular, will reach for the sugar before they reach for the cocaine.
Right.
It causes diabetes. It causes dental caries. It causes heart disease, fatty liver disease. I mean, there is nothing good that comes from extra sugar.
And don't forget that today's candy doesn't just have sugar in it. It's got high fructose corn syrup.
Right. Which is
Which
even worse.
is even worse. And then
Why
it's
is it worse, Jen?
because that is directly contributing to fatty liver disease even more than sugar, and it turns off your body's ability to know that it's full. So you think you're hungry when you're really not. Like those chemicals that your brain, the signals that your stomach sends to your brain that it's full, is no longer firing.
That's another thing that it does. Yes, it does. It does suppress your ability to know when you are full and when you are not.
Yeah, and it's.
Corinne, you hear? I'm sorry, Jen.
I was going to say, and candy bars like that are also filled with hydrogenated oils. Most of them aren't even chocolate anymore. So,
Right.
I
Okay.
was
So yeah, you hear us talking about this stuff, Corinne, and we're talking, half sciency and nerdy and whatever, but basically what we're saying is it's very dangerous. It causes a lot of damage to the body. Now, it's a slow acting poison. It doesn't kill someone right away like hemlock, but
Mhm.
it is a poison nonetheless. So what you're a mom and you hear this, and what are your thoughts right now? Because you
Well,
want to
so
participate in Halloween.
my first thought was, before I did the program, I always joked and said I have no shut-off valve. I never feel full.
uh,
And now that I've done the program and I'm eating much better, you do feel full. You do feel that sense of so what you're saying in regards to the high fructose corn syrup is absolutely true because it doesn't give you the ability to realize that you are hungry. Um, and I think that, when it comes to sugar, I think that one day a year, it's okay for the kids to indulge. But is it okay for the kids to indulge in sugar, in significant amounts of sugar, day in and day out? Absolutely not. Because, like you said, it affects their brains from a nutritional perspective. It affects everything that they do in life. And, you know, we have to teach them the right way as opposed to the wrong way. I mean, I grew up with an uncle that owned a candy factory, and every single time we would leave Long Island, we would leave with a trunk full of candy. And we
Your
would
uncle was Willy Wonka?
yes, yes, we had and when I tell you, like, we would go home with trunks and trunks and trunks full of candy. And then the entire pantry was all full of candy. We would be like, yes, we're going to Uncle Irving's house today. Yes, we're going to the candy. It was the best thing for us as kids. But really looking back and reflecting, like
right.
eating better was probably the better decision.
Well, listen, brain fog, depression, anxiety, hardening of the artery. I mean, we could go on and on
Yeah.
and on about the effects that sugar have on the body. The average American has 19 teaspoonfuls of sugar a day. I mean, it is just absurd at what sugar does and how they sneak it into every place. And
Yes.
it's done purposefully, right? Because larger consumers and people who are addicted are going to purchase more. There's no responsibility that's taken on the part of the food manufacturers. They don't think that's their job. They think their job is to create delicious candy. So it has to be our job to take responsibility for ourselves and our families. And
Mhm.
what brought this about, one of the reasons we're talking about this is because the other day I texted a client of ours, and her name is Cindy. She has retired down to the Florida Keys.
Right.
Jen knows who I'm talking about. I mean, she's a
Take me
great
there.
lady. She had killed it on the program. Yes, she retired down to the Keys, actually opened up a
A big
bagel store, and
yeah.
she won't even eat
Doesn't eat
most of the stuff that she sells. But here's the thing.
that.
We were talking a couple of weeks ago about what it takes to keep it off, and I had mentioned that largely it takes the ability to create rules for yourself and to stick to those rules. And everyone knows this. Everyone knows this intuitively, but nobody wants to create rules for themselves and then stick to them and then maybe create kind of like redundant rules in case, those rules fail. But I asked Cindy, I said, "What's your secret? You've kept it off for so long." And she said, and she texted me back 3 words: "No sugar ever."
Yeah.
Now, I was very impressed by that, and I wanted to know more. So I said, well, of course, there's sugar in fruit, and there's sugar in, natural sugars occur in vegetables. And I said, are you referring to all sugar or just added sugar? She said, added sugars.
Process.
No added sugars ever.
Yeah.
And I was amazed by that. Jen, your thoughts?
So I coached her, and she had an amazing realization on what was a trigger for her. And I shared with her a couple of documentaries on the sugar industry. One that I always share with clients is called Sugar Coated. It's an eye-opening documentary on the insidiousness of the sugar industry. And she kind of knew this, but then she watched it and she was like, yeah. So it validated what she already knew, right? It gave her hardcore facts to back up what she intuitively knew by listening to her body. I was impressed that she went through the entire program and reset. And I'm very, very happy to know all this time later that she's still adhering to what she learned. It's not easy.
It's not easy, and most people probably cannot do it or would not be willing to do it.
Hard.
But she found something that works for her. She understands it, and she really wants to be lean like she is. She lost, what did she lose? 40 pounds or something with us?
She did an extended program and she lost close to like 38 or 40 pounds. Really crushed it. I need pictures because I've never met her in person.
Right.
So I would love to see what she looked like before and after.
At the very least, people obviously need to minimize their added sugars, and they need to understand, and they need to also understand some of the tricks that are played against them in order to get them hooked on sugar. So, guys, can you name some names of sugar other than sugar? Like if you're looking at packages, what are some of the names that you're going to see that just mean sugar, basically?
Isn't dextrose sugar?
Anything with an OSE, right?
Yeah.
With an
Fructose,
sugar,
yeah.
right? So fructose and sucrose and dextrose and all of that. So that's all sugar. Yeah. What else?
That's pretty much it. Anything that ends with an OSE, you kind of
Well,
have
there's
to
more than that. You said corn syrup before.
high fructose.
High fructose corn syrup.
Corn syrup. What else would be considered a sugar product? Anything corn, anything like corn starch, those are still sugars. So then the body processes them very differently actually than pure cane sugar. It's processed in a different part of the digestive system than
Right. So let's talk about that for a minute. Why are some sugars better than others? So for example, sugar, that's pure cane sugar, or sugar from fruits. Why are those acceptable? They are still sugars.
they are naturally occurring, so our body recognizes them.
Okay.
They're closer to plants, and I don't remember which part. One was processed in the large intestine, one is processed in the small intestine. It's the way it's absorbed. I don't remember my anatomy very well, but it's the way that it's absorbed into the body and where it goes into the different organ systems. So
Got it. And also, let's not forget that those naturally occurring sugars are mitigated by things like minerals and vitamins and also fiber.
Yeah.
So nature has its own way of giving us things that are not poison. When it's extracted from all of that,
right.
then it becomes poisonous in the body. So let's talk practically, though, also. Like, Trish, how can you help your kids? Are your kids planning on dressing up and going out trick-or-treating?
No, this
they're
is the
too
they makes me sad, but no, this is the first year that they are not, but they will be home handing out candy.
They're going to be handing out candy instead.
Yeah.
Okay. And so does that mean they're not going to have any?
I will say for the majority of the time, my kids do not eat candy. Especially my daughter, she stays away from it for the most part. Today, she might have a couple of pieces, but on the normal, she does not ever really eat candy.
So, Corinne, you have the youngest kids of everyone on here, and kids love candy. They freak out for it. Again, they're like addicts, right? I mean, it's like I remember seeing a kid in the dorm knocking on a pusher's door at like 3 in the morning and begging for stuff. And kids are very much like that. And if you don't give it to them, they'll cry and they'll rant and they'll rave. And you might want to give it to them just to shut them up, right? So how do you, knowing what you know, how do you make sure that those kids don't become rageaholic sugar addicts?
Well, at first, I put it in a place in which they can't reach it. So I don't even leave it like
I've seen your kid climb all over the place.
well, she can't climb as high as where the candy is. So
Mm.
I put it in a place in which she can't reach it, and I limit it. Like, even today, she was like, "Could you put Rolos in my lunchbox because it's Halloween?" And I'm like, "Absolutely not." I'm like, "You're gonna have enough junk when you get home. You're not starting out the day." I was like, "You need to eat food," and I just try to teach them that moderation is key, and it's
Are
the
they
same
able
thing
to
for my
hear it?
older daughter.
Are
What
they able to
happened?
hear it at that age?
No, that's why you have to take it away from them. If you let them just eat whatever they want, they'll eat the whole bag and think nothing of it.
Right.
No, we're not doing that. Nope, try again.
Right. They don't have the ability to understand the consequences, especially your
Mhm.
kids are like rail thin, so certainly weight is not going to be a consequence for them, right?
Yeah, but I was as thin as them when I was a kid. So
And
you can't assume that, you know what I
and
mean?
maybe your mom didn't hide the candy.
No, my mom did not hide the candy or the cookies or the Twix bars or the anything. She
They
went to
were
the
in low
grocery store and
drawers.
she bought it all and she said, "When it's gone for the week, it's gone. Then you're up to eating something else."
Jen, your kids are a little older now, and obviously, given what you do, I know you've had conversations with them. So, did you find them more amenable to having those conversations and to taking your advice as they aged, or not so much? They still shut you out.
So, so I, yes, my oldest one is tiny and she's a vegetarian and she's super careful on what she puts in her body and what she puts in my grand dog's body. So she went like all organic and holistic. And
Uh-huh.
I have to say, she picked that up. My middle guy is my junk food addict, is a sugar junkie. Youngest one likes sugar a lot. However, she recognized that she was having trouble. She's now 17. Um, with sugar, she self curtailed recently and has gone vegetarian. Again, that's not my lifestyle, but they're doing something. So the answer is yes and no. When they were little and they went trick or treating, I would let them eat whatever they wanted to on Halloween, and then I would hide the candy. And if they asked for it, I would bring it out and let them pick a piece. And by the end of the week, they had forgotten it.
Mhm.
On one hand, I know that it's a very hard lifestyle to not eat sugar ever. And I really, really applaud Cindy on that. On the other hand, I hear the moderation is everything. And then my mind goes, yes, but poison in moderation is still poison. That
Right.
being said, I ate a Twix bar the other day. So
Right. And listen, like I said, most people can't do what Cindy does. Listen, I can't swear for sure that Cindy does that she lives like that, right? Um, that's why there needs to be, when we're making rules for ourselves, there needs to be like backup rules, right?
realistic.
What do you do if you have a bad day?
Mm.
In our system, we have the steak day. If you have a bad day, you can do a steak day. It'll help get you on track. So the key is,
Right.
less so not falling as opposed to being able to get up once you do fall, right? We have to assume and build systems that assume that we're not perfect.
Yes.
But we can't live in that reality either. Well, I'm not perfect, so I'm having sugar every day. Now, let me say this, and I do want to come from a more sympathetic place than I did when I accused you all of hating your children, which I do believe is true to some degree. But when we're talking about eating sugar, when we're talking about any drug, people do this to solve problems,
Right.
right? So a lot of times when people are eating sugar, it's because they feel bad for one reason or another. They
Mm.
feel low energy. They're
Right.
trying to improve that. They know if they have the sugar, they'll feel better. Their mood will be elevated.
Right.
So there's a reason that people do it. People come from a good place. And that's what I was saying before about why it's so insidious that the food companies use that against us.
Yeah.
They know that people have low energy because they're depleted in nutrients and because, people get into moods. They know that it's seen as a loving gesture and a way to help people by giving them candy and giving them sweets. And they use that against us, from the advertisers to the people who create the products to the chemical constituents in it. They know it. And I hate to sound like really blamey and let's, kill them all, but this is what's happening. And we can't play into it as well. All right, Jen, I know you have thoughts about that.
I'm parsing my words. Insidious is a really good word. I like that. I think that it's a little
What do you
more
like about it? Is it the number of syllables? Is it how it rolls off the tongue?
rolls off my tongue. I think it's a good word because it captures the essence of what's happening behind the scenes. So without going into that, because that's a whole rabbit hole nobody wants to go down, there are better ways to pick. If you like chocolate, go for the best possible chocolate.
Right.
Go for like something that's real with cacao powder and sugar rather than high fructose corn syrup. Like if you look at, I'm going to pick on Hershey's. If you look at the ingredients in Hershey's that we grew up with is not the Hershey's
Not
that's
the same, yeah. Coke is not the same. By the way, sodas is one of the worst ways.
Worst. Ask the dentist. It's liquid sugar. It coats the teeth. Yeah. And if you look at candy that is sold in Europe by the same companies, their regulations on chemicals are very different than ours here. So people in Europe are still getting real.
So I
candy.
should go to Europe for my chocolate.
But that's why when people go to Europe and they bring home chocolate, people are like, "Oh my God, this is so good."
It's real. It's real.
Well, let's good. So let's get to the point where we've talked a lot about problems. Now let's talk about solutions, because the people who want to change, sometimes you feel like you need that bit of sweetness. You need that mouthfeel. You need to be comforted in a way. So what do we use to replace? What's, in your estimation, a good kind of chocolate or cacao that people can use?
So it's a tough one. Like people talk about Godiva all the time, and it's not really a good chocolate anymore. So like some of the small companies, there used to be one that Dean and DeLuca sold, Christopher Norman, is a small chocolatier that sells still, real ingredients, like 5 ingredients on the package, no soy lecithin, no nonsense in there. There are other ways. So like I like cacao nuggets, like the little tiny nuggets in a goat's milk yogurt with some stevia and some coconut. I'm trying to like go through the recipe that I use, and almonds, like slivered almonds, because to me that tastes like an Almond Joy. So if I can find the things that I like the taste of and replicate it in a healthy way, then that's what I do. I'm always disappointed. Like I never really liked Twix bars, but for some reason I wanted one the other day, and they do not taste like I remember. And it's not that my taste buds have changed, it's that the products have changed.
Right.
So find a healthy alternative for what you want and get creative with it. So if
Corinne, what do you do? Let's say that you have a craving and yet you want to behave yourself. Certainly that's going to happen after this conversation today. So what will you do to satisfy your sweet tooth, but to make sure that it's not too poisonous for you? Let's put it that way.
Well, like when I'm on like strict programs, sometimes I'll actually take fruit, like frozen fruit that we have, like berries, and I'll put it in the blender with a little bit of ice and a little bit of water, and I'll blend that up to make myself feel like I'm eating like an Italian ice.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it like super thick, and sometimes I'll throw like English toffee stevia in it, like just to flavor it up. But that's how like I'll manipulate. and you feel like you're, having a sweet treat with it.
Good. Good. How about you, Trish? What do you do?
I'm a big believer in the stevias. I have almost every flavor. So I'll replicate my favorite coffee drinks using the liquid stevia, like a pumpkin spice latte. I'll use the pumpkin and whip it up with coconut oil. It does really,
It helps.
it really does replace it. It's the most comparable replacement of to do all that. So
Right.
I use that
just
with
so-
everything. I whip it into my cottage cheese, everything to make
I agree.
everything. a little
Yeah, and
flavor.
it's almost like a mousse when you do that, right?
Yep. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, artificial sweeteners are probably even worse than sugar for a variety of reasons. The only artificial sweetener that we recommend and allow, certainly on program, and we recommend it beyond that, is Sweet Leaf brand stevia because of the way it's processed. Stevia itself is a plant. It's very sweet, and they have different flavors. So you can add it, you can blend it up, you can get creative about it. Jackie is great with that. She has all kinds of recipes. We have them on our website,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Jen, what do you recommend to people who need to satisfy their sweet tooth?
Basically what everybody has said. I was going to say be careful with aspartame has been renamed. So every time there's a big public outcry about something being unhealthy, the industry renames it and fool us.
Right.
So
They
I think
find a way around it.
they find a way. I think it's called amino sweet now.
I haven't even heard about that.
So if you see, well, don't forget, I run in those circles. So if you see, I think it's amino sweet.
You run
I
in
don't-
circles?
I do run in circles. I don't use that product ever. That's a whole story that I'll tell separately. If anybody is interested in it, I try not to tell it publicly, although I have.
What, aspartame?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I
bad.
think we can tell it publicly. It's not a good idea to use it ever.
Ever. Yeah, it's this passed hands to get it through the FDA. It's not fit for human consumption. So
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yes, fruit, obviously. I mean, there are times where fruit is the most satisfying thing in the world, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we need something a little more chocolatey. I don't know. It's probably about the richness of it, but there are ways to get the experience of chocolate. We've talked about Creo Brew in the past, which is a ground cacao that, you can brew like coffee, and then you could add in a liquid stevia, and it's like having a great hot chocolate. It's very satisfying, and you don't have to feel guilty about it. By the way, cacao has been shown to alleviate sugar cravings.
Right.
So there are different things that you can do to get rid of sugar cravings. Going cold turkey can be really hard, and people will have detox symptoms. On the program, it's one of the reasons people have detox symptoms, because when you're getting rid of the sugar, then suddenly what happens is, again, you're not getting the serotonin and the dopamine boosts, right? Those happy chemicals, and they'll go down, and blood sugar could go down temporarily, and that can cause various symptoms about how you feel. But there are ways, though, to get the same satisfaction. We recommend having no more than 2 fruits a day for most people.
Right.
It's naturally occurring sugar, and you're getting the other good stuff with it. All right. So listen, we've done our part. People are going to go out there and do what they do. They're going to eat whatever they're going to eat. Hopefully they don't. I'm okay, by the way, with throwing away candy. I know we're not supposed to throw away food, strictly speaking. These sugary foods are not foods because they provide no nourishment at all. So I would recommend chucking it. There's an expression. I'm gonna kind of not say it exactly right, but if we took all the candy in the world and we threw it in the ocean, it would be good for man and bad for the fish. So I am perfectly okay with us throwing away food that does not provide any nourishment for human beings.
Yeah.
A lot of people will not do that. So I don't have a good solution. We thought we had one last year, sending it to the soldiers, but do we really want to spread that around?
No.
Hi, Joe. Everyone say hi to Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Okay, so we're going to end off here. Any last words? Anything that people want to say or that you want people to know?
Be safe, have fun, and don't let your kids eat too much. Just a little bit.
Okay, that sounds good. Anyone else? No, I think we've said what we needed to say. All right, we've done our part. Remember, we're heading into the holiday season. So this is step one. There are a lot of people who in their minds, and by the way, you can play it any way you want. If your idea of the holidays is that you want to indulge and go crazy and hopefully pull it together next year, you're welcome to do it. I disagree about it being a good strategy. I don't think we ever kind of abandon our responsibility to take care of ourselves and the people we care about, but you can do it that way. If you choose not to, if you need some help, then reach out to us. We'll be happy to do it. Happy anniversary, Jen. Yes, it's her 2-year wedding anniversary.
Yes.
Yay.
All right. All right. We'll see everyone next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.